What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology, the Titans action, spawning in the blue color, playing as Hades. He's back, and his name is Magic. His opponent today in the red color, playing as Thor, his name is Suppe. Yes. Oh, I'm excited, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you who are uninitiated, for those of you not been around since the dawn of time, for those of you who have been living under a rock, Magic is a semi-professional Age of Empires 4 gamer. He placed within the top 8 several times, potentially even higher. I don't actually know the exact placements he's gotten in Age of Empires 4. He's one of the few players, if the only player, to have taken a game off of the winner of Red Bull Woolulul, Age of Empires 4 as well. We do have in the chat here, Chemo saying, never heard of him. Is he good? He's pretty good, but he is back. And the beautiful thing about Magic, which I think kind of separates him a little bit from a lot of the other top players, is he doesn't come back and smurf. He just comes back and he plays. So this is probably like day 2 of him playing Age of Mythology after a very, very long break. Not even a break. He hasn't really been having a break from RTS. He's been playing Age of Empires 4. So he's still got those RTS skills, but a very, very long break nonetheless, as the scout going to find the caribou. The villagers can move over there. I like this play. He's trying to drag that boar into the town center, but not going to be able to do so. He will indeed be needing to get himself another little bit of wood, though. What he could do is send all these villagers over to this hunt, and by the time he gets there, he will have that wood to build that next granary. So it's a decent build order, but then he also needs to consider having the villagers jump off of gold onto wood. You can pull onto this straggler tree. This is a little trick you can do to get around some average openers. A little bit of a missed that forced drop to get that extra 5 wood. Not a big problem. Suppe on the other hand over here, he's having a little bit of a crisis in the early game. He's playing as Thor. Thor is the new OP. Everyone's been telling me that Norse is the best god on 6.0. I'm excited to see it because I've yet to see Norse being the best god in Age of Mythology. I know a lot of players like to talk a big game, but generally speaking, when someone says Norse is the best god, they never play Norse. That's not 100% true, but it's kind of up there for being true. In a way. Anyways, Suppe, I like the idea of jumping onto the berries here. This is really, really good for Norse. Norse needs to be aggressive early in these sorts of matchups. So him jumping onto those berries nice and early should allow him to get that food he needs to advance nice and quickly. That being said, it's a low hunt map, so Suppe might be baited, quote unquote, into going for a, he could have advanced there. He might be baited into going for a fast second town center here, which isn't a terrible idea, but it also leads you into having some difficulties. That being said, double gold mine in the main base here for Suppe is going to be very, very good. Spots a relic over here, the Ankh of Ra. For Magic at this moment, he's taken a very, very scenic route to the classical age in grabbing his Ajax right now. Got his temple up. I would say way back when, Greek players have been going super slow to the classical age for a very, very long time. It's only been fairly recently that the Greek builds have kind of leveled up and that players are consistently hitting those 430s, 416s, 402s, or even 348s. But this early Ajax here is a very, very defensive play, and it's not terrible. It also, I mean, you're getting more villagers out, so you've got more resources. You've got a big, fat hero to defend against any sort of early rushes with all the villagers on this hunt as well. And Forsetty actually being the god of choice here for Suppe. This shouldn't be a terrible position for Magic to be in. In fact, funnily enough, it's probably the better call to be going for that sort of a later advance for Magic. Though Super's reacted to this really well. He's grabbing that second town center. This is exactly what he should be doing. He should also be having gotten husbandry in this game. He's got some boar. He's got a boar over here, but getting that husbandry nice and early to fatten up those herdables is super, super important, and that's something that is often missed in these sorts of matchups. And Magic is also missing that one here. He's got himself 8 goats. And if you get husbandry nice and early, that's going to be up to closer to 200 food by the time, 250 food, even 300 food by the time you actually jump onto them after you've finished all the goats. Well, I really like this mining camp here from Magic. It's a little bit greedy, but it does reduce the walking time, gets him onto that gold, allows him to get this town center up. So now Soup is going to be going 2 town centers, Magic going 2 town centers, chasing each other in this game where that's concerned. For some reason, deleting that mining camp, maybe the villager was stuck inside there or something. Not 100% sure, but with that Ankh of Ra going into the temple, that's going to be a big help for Magic, because if he does end up losing like a Chiron or something at some point in this game, should be completely fine where that's concerned. But with Soup grabbing this town center, the question always should be asked by the Norse player, where to next? What is your plan here as Thor against Hades, especially Hades going 2 town center, especially Hades going 2 town center with a gold mine next to the second town center. It's very, very tough to get gold staffs here, especially with a double gold mine in the main base. So spamming military units here in the classical age is probably a mistake. It's probably a better idea for, looks like Soup's missed his villagers in that hometown center as well, throwing away a fairly sizable advantage here. But you kind of got 2 options. So option number 1 would be grab that 3rd town center really, really quickly, because you kind of know that because your opponent's gone 2 town centers, they're not going to have a whole lot of stuff out to put pressure onto you. Maybe they'll have Chiron, maybe they'll have Ajax. You might need to get out a couple more Hursa, or maybe get out a Longhouse and get a raiding cavalry and a couple of raiding cavalry out to ensure that town center goes up. But you could go for a 3rd town center. I think the better option would be Armory, not Longhouse. Armory here. Husbandry. Take the dwarves off of the gold. Grab those goats. And then run straight to the heroic age. Why is that so much better in this position than spamming units? Well, the answer is you get access to the market. And you get access to a pure dwarf and wood economy in Thrown Axeman and Huskal. Which the Greek player does not get access to. Greek player going to have to build farms. Going to have to make counter infantry units if he wants to deal with that. As this troll scouting around here, Magic just kind of ignoring that one as the Chiron going to come over here as well. And in fact here, with that troll running in, spotting everything, he probably could have gone straight for that town center and got it up. The Katoskopos looks like it's kind of scouting around, trying to see what's going on. Probably should be sitting on the town center there just to see what's happening, but we're already seeing Soup dropping farms here, and you already know how much I hate this. I really, really dislike farming before the goats are eaten. Just because there's so many better options where that's concerned. But we'll see what's going to happen. Soup is a very, very aggressive player. He doesn't normally like the boomy strategic Norse play. So we'll see if he's going to be able to work this one out. There's a house coming down, 2 houses coming down for Magic. 8 minutes into the game, Magic here, not really needing to do all too much. He's housed on both towns, and it's not what you want to be doing, but he's only got a handful of villages on the gold mine. How are the economic upgrades going? He's already got hand axe, which is a nice upgrade there to have in order to get his farms down. Soup now throwing farms up in his main base. Okay, hang on, I'm not 100% sure about this. Let me have a quick look. Farms 0.66 versus 0.69, 0.73 versus 0.72. So yes, I will continue along my train of thought here. When you're deciding which unit to jump onto the farm, you should put the gatherer onto the farm and the dwarf onto the herdable, especially as Thor. Probably even more so as the other civs, but as Thor, the dwarves gather basically equally, if not faster, than the gatherers on the herdables, but they gather significantly slower than the gatherers on the farms. So when you're deciding between taking a dwarf off of your herdables or a gatherer, go for the gatherers first there. As we do see all these farms coming up on this position here, as Soup is going through to the heroic age. Nonetheless, he has a lot of villagers on farms here, which I think maybe is a slight mistake because he just needs wood and gold at this point. Throw an Axeman and Huskarl, potentially making some Ulfsark wouldn't go astray, but in reality here, it's not that big of a deal. He can just sit in his base, throw a hill fort down, get himself an army. With all of these Toxotes out, all you need is a handful of Huskarl to win these fights, and Magic is going to be the one really struggling to figure things out. Looks like Magic's going for a third town center at this point. A little bit delayed, but not a bad idea at this point. Gets his economy going even harder. He's getting the farms up. He's going to be able to deal with this one. He's getting a little bit too much wood in the bank, but really, excess wood isn't a really bad thing for Greek because you can always just spend it all on farms, taking the villagers off of that, or on more military buildings. So it makes a lot of sense that Magic is kind of doing that in this game. As the hill fort coming up in the main base, this should be able to defend this position. He's got himself watchtowers. Soup's got himself watchtowers as well. Plus, on this position, the gold all good on the back position there. Does have himself the Pierce upgrades. I feel like it wouldn't be a bad idea here, and this is why all of these farms are probably a slight mistake to be throwing down 2 hill forts, maybe even 3 hill forts at this point. As the Frost Giant moving forward, and Magic is pushed in, and he's already pulled back. That's actually wild. He pulled away from this position. He was going to sit in here and try and get some sort of a pressure there, but instead decided to pull back, defend his town center on the back there as the villagers pushing up to this gold over here, and Magic is about to start skyrocketing forward in this game. As Soup can now just spam out those villagers here onto wood and get himself going. He's not really making those Huskarls. Needing to grab this third town center at this point. This is kind of dangerous because now you know Magic here. He's 3 town centers. You don't really know how much army Magic's got. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Magic's army. He's only at 101 population, but he definitely could be closer to 120, 130 population at this point if he'd spent all his resources really efficiently here. But hitting this location, that would be brutal because then you're forced to hit Frost. Whereas potentially throwing down those extra hill forts, getting up to full population, 130 population, you're able to get this town center up super quickly. Plus you've got those Huskarls, so it means you can't really push in there. But we'll see what's happening. Upgrades now. Got all the upgrades for Magic. He's set up. He's got walls. He's got an armory coming up. He's taking his time in this game. Realizes probably doesn't have to do a whole lot. Though that being said, that is a little bit dated in terms of the game plan for Hades against Norse. Norse is one of the few civilizations which arguably can actually crash in with a Mythic Age timing and kind of punish a purely defensive Hades player. But we'll see how things are going to go if Soup can actually make that work or not. As Magic now going through Aphrodite at this point. He's still just playing very, very defensively. Tons of Toxotes out at this point. So very, very nice and defensive. Soup sees that army now. He's still only got the 1 hill fort. He's making himself those Huskarl at this point. But now, with the Aphrodite coming in, Soup's going to have to start thinking about medium raiders early, maybe even heavy raiders early, and starting to pump out raiding cavalry to deal with potential Huskarl, or not Huskarl, but Hypaspis coming in to deal with those Huskarl that he's making. So a little bit of a forethought where that's concerned wouldn't go astray. But one thing that Magic's doing really, really well here, and we can actually learn a little bit from this, is he's playing around that Frost really nicely. He's not pulling out of position. He's always going to be under a tower or something here. He's got, I mean, he does have a perfect gold mine on this position, so that is a really, really weird pathfinding going on over there, but nonetheless, with Magic sitting back here, he's not going to get caught out. It probably wouldn't be a bad idea to just hit Frost on this position, and that's exactly what Soup's going to do, so that Soup can push in and get a lot of value here on this fight. The problem here is there's a handful of units that are in for Magic. Magic's got to be careful here. If Soup micros this one, he should be able to kill off these Hypaspists really, really quickly with those throwing axemen, and we do see that's exactly what's going to be happening here. Magic does pull back. Good play where that's concerned. Going to be distracting this one. And now the Frost is going to finish. There will be a curse and a restoration here. Hillfort going down. A little bit of a dangerous move here because you probably have to retreat after the Frost is finished anyways. We'll see if that hill fort can get up as the Hypaspis are coming in here. Curse getting dropped down. Suppe at this point trying to throw a longhouse up at the top of the map. He's got his market up. He's going to be starting that trade route. Restoration coming down very, very early here. That's a different idea from Magic. Don't normally see it. Normally we see the restoration a little bit after the fact, but this does get all of those units back up to full HP. Suppe's down to 130 population, not spending his resources well. Why? Because he's only got a handful of military buildings. Like I said earlier, 2 hill forts, he would be absolutely fine pumping these units out. But now on the front, not pumping the units out before, losing all his army. Suppe's now on the back foot, and he's going to be open for a gold, to be getting gold starved here, because he just doesn't have the production to spend that insane economy that he's got here. You can already see he's nearly full bronze. In fact, is he still getting upgrades? He's not getting the upgrades, but he's got so much food in the bank, pulling back at this point away from this army, but he's just not at full population. Magic, on the other hand, he's at 160 population. He's got himself that fortified towns, and he's got everything he needs. And Suppe is only just now trying to get up that extra hill fort over here. This hill fort on this position going to be falling as well as a Jarl. Going to be attempting to pick off that Minotaur, but gets bashed away there as this hill fort is going to get denied as well, fairly simply by Magic. And Magic at this point, he's making those Hypaspits as well. He's got so many Hypaspits moving forward to kind of completely counter the Huskarls of Suppe here. And the hill fort with 1300 HP going to get harassed by the Catoscopos coming in there. Going to be distracting that one before losing its life there. But Suppe is in a really, really difficult position at this point. This gold mine is completely open here. We do see some trade caravans starting at this point as well, though. So there's a potential here for Suppe to just pull back into his base and just drop something in his base. But he's refusing to do so, just continuing to put stuff up on the front. 125, 145 population here. Can get himself that fortified town centers at the moment, but he is in complete retreat. And if you know anything about Norse, it's that if you're on the retreat, life is tough. The best way to play, as we do see the hill fort up on this top position, is Suppe trying to cause some problems there. The dwarves getting spotted over on this position here. Oxcart going down. But if you're on the retreat as Norse, the only real way to pull back from that is to build really far away from the battlefield and then be sending units forward there to hold. You can't be building buildings on the battlefield as Norse. It just does not work. As the Huskarl are all kind of taken out, and Suppe doesn't even want to try it here. It's kind of upsetting because Suppe, while he is behind you, he's got so many resources. He would be able to hit the Mythic Age here. He's got good position on this location. So if he hits the Mythic Age here, gets himself some upgrades, just puts the dwarves onto wood or something for the time being, maybe even up to this gold mine. He's got a trade route started. There's a potential here for a Fimbulwinter to hit him to kind of be okay here. But Magic comes in, shows he can play Age of Mythology in 2024 still, with some solid Hades players, a solid Boom. Suppe kind of playing into Magic's kind of strengths in a way. If you don't remember Magic's strengths, he's a very defensive player. He's actually came up with a couple of concepts that I follow to this day still, such as in the mirror matchup, you probably shouldn't attack because there's no reason you're ahead. That's a Magic idea there. But if you like this game, you want to see more Magic games as he's trying to get back to form here, definitely hit that follow button on the Twitch and hit that subscribe button on the YouTube. Leave a comment, and I'll see you guys in the next game.